Morning, ma'am, and my dear friends. I'm Sabita. Today I'm going to discuss about Unit 6.3, that is Structural and Situational Approach in Teaching of English. Now let us see what all we are going to cover. Meaning of approach, meaning of structural, definitions, what is structure and situation approach, structural approach, principles, characteristics, the steps in situational approach to teach English, types of situations, merits and demerits. Starting our discussion, let us see what is approach. An approach is a set of correlative assumptions dealing with the nature of language teaching and learning. An approach is axiomatic. Axiomatic meaning self-evident or unquestionable. Knowing what is an approach, let us see various approaches. Structural approach, situational approach, communicative approach, constructive approach, collaborative approach, and many more. Coming to one of my main topic, structural approach, let us see the meaning of structural approach. Teaching of English by helping the students to learn certain structures of English is called the structural approach. It is arrangement of words in such a way as to form a suitable pattern. That its main objective is to increase the students' command over the pattern of English and enable them to use the language more effectively. It also known as oral approach, as it is stress teaching language by giving opportunities to the students to hear and speak the language. For these structures are carefully selected and suitably graded. Now let's go through the definitions of structural approach. Structural approach is a scientific study of the fundamental structures of English language, their analysis and logical arrangements, and it is written by Drewington. The structural approach is based on the belief that is learning of the foreign language, mastery of structures is more important acquisition vocabulary. After knowing definition, let us know what is structure. The different arrangements or pattern of words is called structure. Language have their own structures. There are 325 structures and more than 10 lakh words in English, the bulkiest language. While structural approach expects the students to learn about 250 basic sentence pattern and 3,500 words at the end of the schooling. It has been found that 100 sentences of English. Let's see few examples for meaningful words. Nita is there. Is Nita there? There Nita is. There is Nita. All the four sentences having the same vocabulary items, still they give us different meanings due to different arrangements of the three vocabulary items. This arrangement is known as structure. Thus, the structure meaningful words are used in a particular order to convey their meaning. Now let us see the principles of presenting the teaching items. The first one is language is primarily speech. Learning a language means acquiring a set of habits. We should teach the target language but not about the language. Languages are different from one another in a number of aspects. Listed out here are the principles of selection: usefulness, frequency, teachability, productivity. Let us come to usefulness. Only the useful items are listed. Frequency, items more frequently occurring in speech are included in lower classes and the less frequent ones are put in the later classes. Teachability, items that can be taught easily appear earlier than those that are not easily taught. Productivity, the structures that can give rise to more sentences are listed at the top when compared to those which have no such scope. Few more principles to be taken into consideration, like speech is basis of acquiring other skills like reading and writing. Thus, speech is emphasized. Language habit formation is important. The importance of forming language habit, particularly the habit of arranging words in English standard sentence pattern to replace the sentence pattern of pupil's own language. Through this process of learning of second language also become natural. Active based learning. Now let us see characteristics of structural method. It correlates the teaching of grammar and composition with reading lesson. Thus grammar is taught informally. Next one, the unit teaching is particular structure. Oral drill form a significant step of this approach. Meaningful situations are created by the teacher with help of easily available teaching aids. It lays proper emphasis on oral approach method. Now let us see benefits or merits which are going to be a commendable quality. Speech is emphasized, habit formation is stressed, carefully selected and graded structure or language material. It creates interest and motivation in pupils through the use of selected and graded material. Language is taught in meaningful situation. This approach is linked with the situational teaching. Besides, oral work is emphasized and reading and writing skills. Thus, objective of language teaching are fulfilled. Opposite of merits, let us see demerits. A good plan fails without understanding of nature of the language. Textbooks prescribed in course cannot be taught through this approach. Not helpful in teaching prose, poetry, and other form of literature. Not suitable for higher classes as they don't like repetition of structures. Knowledge of grammar cannot be obtained through this approach as it touches only the functional grammar. Now let us see the second topic, situational approach. Coming to definition of situational approach, situational syllabus is often defined as one in which content are organized according to situation in which certain language is likely to be employed. Now let us see what is situational approach. Language exists in situations. If someone speaks without anyone listening to him, he will be misunderstood. It cannot be used in vacuum. Language is used according to needs of the situations we are in. Only then can there be any meaning in the language we use. We listen to two quarreling persons, we cannot understand what they are quarreling about in the first instance. It is therefore suggested that while teaching a new language item, teachers should present in meaningful situations. This will enable the students to understand the situational language. Let us see few steps in situational approach. The teacher says the model sentences containing the language item in a meaningful situation. Changes the situation but keeps the language item constant. To ensure comprehension of the item. To extend experience of the item and maintain interest. Goes on to give students oral practice in situation wherever possible. Gives reading and writing practice related to the situations used earlier. Let us see few examples of situational approach. Sentence pattern. This is a book. This is a pencil. That is a desk. That is a blackboard. There are desks. There are chairs. There are doors. Is this a pen? Is this a pencil? Yes, it is a pen. Yes, it is a blackboard. Let us go through the types of situations. The teacher plans his or her situations using the environment, teaching aids, stories, and then coming to environment, the classroom, outside the classroom, school premises, home, society, etc. known to the students. Teaching aids, objects, models, pictures, charts, etc. Stories, anecdotes, incidents, events, accidents, etc. And the teacher uses content situations, those planned by him or her at home for his or her teaching in the class, or spontaneous situations, those that crop up during his or her teaching, which can be made use of it if he or she is resourceful. Let us see merits. Real situation training becomes easy and understandable. Makes enjoy in teaching. Four skills of language LSRW is fulfilled, which is very important. Learning takes place as acquisition. Students are active participant. No confusion and ambiguity. Let us see few demerits. Selected few words and sentences can be taught. Every situation and content is not possible. Grammar, prose, poetry and composition is not possible. Extra repetition and drill is boring for some students. Last but not least, the conclusion of structural approach and situational approach. Let us see the structural approach. Structural approach is the way to learn English grammar, and this approach focuses on word formation, pattern and language accuracy. The aim is to improve and mastering grammar. Coming to situational approach. Lots of study material and innovative must be ready for teaching. Teacher must be fluent and master over the language. It is learner-centered approach. Technology is needed. Thank you, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to discuss about 6.3, that is structural and situational approach.